Hey, yo, what's good, guys? We did it again. Took first place once again, back-to-back weeks at my OTS this weekend, this time with Maliss. And I'm telling you right now, this deck is still terrifying. Everyone's sleeping on it, but the end board that this thing sets up is still one of the scariest in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm going to prove it in today's video. We'll go over the full deck list, card choices, and then at the end, I'll show you a full combo guide and live test hand so you can see exactly how this deck steamrolls the meta, setting up a board with infinite disruptions. And hey, stick around to the end because at the end, I'm going to be cracking open this Metal Raiders pack that I won at the OTS tournament. I know this is one of the original packs. I don't know if this is the original or the second pack or the third pack. I actually was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! At the time that these packs were first released. However, I don't have too much knowledge on the order of the packs. I know this is a really old one though. This is what I won at the OTS tournament, first place. I won it at the event, so in the end, we're gonna see if we can pull something crazy. He has a victory bonus. So let's just get straight into the deck profile. So nothing too crazy, especially compared to my previous Maliss videos. We're having 1 Dormouse, 3 March Hare, 3 Chessy Cat, 2 White Rabbit, 3 Backup Adagnister, 1 Wizard, 1 Maliss in the Mirror, 2 Maliss Underground, Terraforming, Gold Sark, and we're running all 3 of the traps. Definitely have to be running all 3. If you want White Rabbit to be a starter, you definitely have to be running all 3, especially TB11. We're also running 3 Allure of Darkness. This is just such a great extender for this deck. Sometimes running multiple of the names, obviously you're only able to normal summon one of them, so having Allure of Darkness makes so running multiple names isn't really a dead hand. So if we draw Dormouse plus Chessy Cat and an Allure of Darkness, you normal summon Dormouse, of course it's going to get hand trapped. The Chessy Cat that would have been just a dead card in your hand ends up becoming an extender because you can go ahead and use Allure to banish Chessy Cat, draw 2 cards, Chessy Cat gets summoned, and obviously you kind of go off from there. So that's pretty much it for the main deck. The rest of the cards is a lot of going second cards. Called by the Grave, obviously super powerful. Dimension Shifter, since we were running 3 Allure of Darkness, I decided to put Dimension Shifter back in here just because this card pretty much ends turns by itself. And since we're running Allure, if you draw it later and have Allure, it's not too much of a dead hand. Then of course it's Maliss, so we're running a lot of non-engine. So just a bunch of hand traps. Then we're running White Binder, Red Ransom, Heart Scripter, Lingaribo, Link Spider, Almirage, Little Knight, Wicked, Haggard Lizardos. Transcode Talker, probably not something you see in too many other videos. However, I feel like it's just such a great extender. 2300 attack. You're able to, it's kind of like a poor man's Splash Mage, but it does come up once you do go past turn 1. Being able to kind of bring some of your other big body Link monsters and kind of pop off. Then Firewall, Allied Code Talker, Access Code, and the other card, not so typical, is our Superstar Slayer. Just really good going second. Yeah, the deck runs a lot of non-engine. However, it's not the greatest going second in breaking boards. I feel like the deck has a lot of room in the extra deck. I feel like this one, Topologic, Transcode, even like cards like Link Spider, the deck has a lot of room to kind of play around with whatever you guys feel comfortable with doing. I'm not going to be going into my side deck just because I have some people from my locals that do watch my videos. So I do have some spice in there. I might go into that later. I have been getting kind of competitive at my locals, honestly. But this is one card I did have in my side deck that really put in a lot of work today. Going first and having a card like Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Super busted. Being able to like go into a Typhon, having a pseudo skill drain, even being able to bounce a card, and then having a card like Eradicator, being able to bounce this, and then just going off on your opponent, destroying a bunch of their spell cards, or even there's so many dark monsters going into Topologic, Access Code Talker. We run a lot of dark monsters with high attacks. Heart Scripter, being able to utilize Heart Scripter's banish effect, and afterwards it's kind of just sitting there. So being able to get this to the graveyard, you tribute this, and then also puts it back in the graveyard for our White Binder eventually as well. Super busted card. Honestly, I really enjoyed playing this card in Maliss. It kind of gives it that unfairness that Maliss used to have that it doesn't really have anymore because of all the hits. So now I'm going to be going into a quick test hand. Again, just showing you how the deck can still perform even post banless. I still feel like it's definitely a top 5 deck just because the end board is so scary and not having Lancia really in the format. Lancia is still good against this deck. Obviously, it still shuts it down. The deck can play under Lancia, but aside from decks like Lunalight, no one's really siding Lancia. There's really no reason to side it. So with it out of the format, it makes the deck somewhat stronger. Obviously, the hits definitely impacted this deck. Splash Mage, the consistency hits. This deck is a lot stronger in the OCG, has a lot more consistency, and less cards are banished, especially in the extra deck. This deck has so many other extra deck monsters, plus more consistency cards. I feel like, I don't know if it's White Rabbit or Dormouse that's at 2. Something is different in the OCG for sure, or Maliss and Underground might not be hit. It has more consistency for sure, but the extra deck, you're able to go into so many different options that the TCG did decide to hurt Maliss a lot more than the OCG has. And even without the hits though, Maliss isn't really a top contender. It's probably similar actually to what the TCG is, and that's with having all the extra firepower in the extra deck that the OCG has. So who knows, maybe eventually some of those cards will eventually come back. All right, so the deck is shuffled. Let's see what we got. We got Drone Lockbird, Called By, Terraforming, Dimension Shifter, and Ash Blossom. So again, no names. However, we do have Terraforming, so not a completely dead hand. Obviously, going second, this is a super busted hand with the amount of hand traps. Unfortunately, Dimension Shifter does kind of shut off Drone Lockbird. But obviously going first, we are definitely protected from the Molcharmies with Ash Blossom and Called By. We're also protected from Lancia with Called By. Going second, I feel like we would probably just go ahead and shotgun our Dimension Shifter and then kind of hope that our opponent skips their turn with Dimension Shifter being shotgun. But again, like we just mentioned, the consistency hits. This is kind of a hand you would expect to kind of get a lot with not too many starters. I don't know, maybe I'm biased. But again, either way, we have a starter with Terraforming anyways. So we're gonna go ahead, activate Terraforming. Terraforming is gonna go ahead and grab us our Maliss in Underground. So from here, we're gonna go ahead and activate our Maliss in Underground. That's gonna go ahead and banish our Maliss P Dormouse from the deck. Dormouse obviously pays the life points to go ahead and special summon it back. Then we can go ahead, activate Dormouse. That's gonna go ahead and banish our Maliss P White Rabbit from the deck. Again, pay the life points and special summon itself back as well. Now we're gonna go ahead, activate our White Rabbit. That's gonna go ahead and set our Maliss TB11 from the deck to our side of the field. Then again, if anything, we would have shotgun Dimension Shifter going second. But now, since we were able to draw so many hand traps, we can go ahead and actually just normal summon our Drone Lockbird. This is something that is a little different now with the consistency hits and having Splash Mage banned. We have to normal summon our hand traps because before we'd just be able to do Splash Mage, bring it back, go into a Link 3. Now we have to normal summon a hand trap, unfortunately. So we lose a hand trap. Hopefully we're gonna end up drawing cards anyways though. And then from here, we're gonna go ahead and go into our Red Ransom. So we're gonna go ahead and utilize all 3 of these going into Red Ransom. Red Ransom is gonna go ahead and grab us our Maliss in the Mirror from our deck to our hands. Now we're gonna go ahead and activate our TB11, banishing our Red Ransom. That's gonna go ahead and special summon a Maliss P Chessy Cat from our deck to the field. We can go ahead and put this over here. Then Red Ransom can go ahead and pay the life points, special summon itself back. Then Red Ransom is gonna go ahead and banish our March Hare from the deck. And the March Hare, of course, paid the life points and adds itself back to our hand. Then we can go ahead and utilize both of these 2 bodies and go into our Cyberse Wicked. Then we can go ahead and special summon our March Hare by banishing our Chessy Cat from the graveyard. Wicked obviously is going to go ahead and get triggered, and that can go ahead and banish our White Rabbit from the graveyard with our Wicked. And then Chainlink 2 will go ahead and be Chessy Cat to resummon itself, and then Chainlink 1 will be Wicked, and that's going to go ahead, Wicked's going to go ahead and add us our backup at Ignister from our deck to our hand. Then Chessy Cat gets resolved and gets to special summon itself back to the field. We lose the life points. Then we can go ahead and special summon our backup at Ignister. Backup at Ignister is going to go ahead and add us our Wizard at Ignister. We can go ahead and just discard our Dimension Shifter from our hand. It's pretty much dead right now. Then we can go ahead and utilize our Chessy Cat's effect. We can go ahead and banish our Maliss in the Mirror. That's going to go ahead and draw us 2 cards. We're going to get Allure of Darkness and Bysteel Druisworm. So really good cards actually. Can't really use Allure unless we wanted to banish our Druisworm. I feel like we're just gonna go ahead and keep that. We can honestly just say they're blanks for now. But the main thing was to get our Maliss in the Mirror banished, because since Maliss in the Mirror was banished, we can go ahead and banish our TB11 from the graveyard. And that's gonna go ahead and add us our GWC from the deck to our hand. So we now have 6 cards in our hand. Then we can go ahead and go into our Heart Scripter utilizing these 3. Then we can go ahead and utilize these 2 bodies and go into our White Binder. White Binder on special summon is gonna go ahead and banish our Heart Scripter. Heart Scripter, of course, pay the life points, special summon itself back to our side of the field. Then we can go ahead and set our GWC, and then we can go ahead and activate as well by banishing our White Binder, and that's gonna go ahead and special summon our Red Ransom. So we'll go ahead and special summon Red Ransom. Then White Binder can go ahead and special summon itself back. And since it was a special summon, we can go ahead and draw a card. We got Bysteel Magma Hut, so we have both Bysteels. So actually we do have options now for our Allure of Darkness. We go ahead and draw 2 more cards if we wanted to. But for now, we're just gonna go ahead and continue the combo line. Because White Binder can go ahead and reset our GWC. I'm gonna go ahead and set it right there. I'm gonna keep it face up actually for now. Actually, I'll just go ahead and put it face down and I'll show you guys at the end. Then we can go ahead and go into our extra deck some more, and go into our Firewall Dragon utilizing our White Binder and Heart Scriptor. So we can go ahead and put Firewall Dragon right there. Then we can go ahead and special summon our Wizard at Ignister. Wizard can go ahead and special summon one of our Dark Monsters. We can just go ahead and do Chessy Cat. Then we can go ahead 3, 4, 5 to go into our Allied Code Soccer at Ignister. Allied Code Soccer is going to go ahead and special summon our White Binder and our Red Ransom. I'm just going to go ahead and shuffle the deck because I probably am going to go ahead and do our Allure of Darkness just to see what we get. So I'd go ahead and activate Allure. We can probably just go and banish our Bysteel Magma Hut to draw 2 cards. We get backup at Ignister and Fualos. Okay, it doesn't really matter. We drew 5 times. 1 off White Binder, 2 off of Chessy Cat, and then 2 off of Allure of Darkness. So we have backup for next turn, a dead Fualos pretty much. We're gonna go ahead and set our called by, and then again we have GWC set over here. The Bysteel is great because we'd be able to, when we pass turn to our opponent, use our Allied Code Soccer to ditch our White Binder, negate/banish something, and then we can go ahead and utilize our Druid Swarm to banish our White Binder, and White Binder can go ahead special summon itself back. We would draw another card, a second Fualos. White Binder could then go ahead and banish Heart Scriptor, and probably March Hare, plus hopefully something from our opponent's field, or from our opponent's graveyard, I'm sorry. And then Heart Scriptor would come back, March Hare would end up coming back, March Hare would end up coming back to our hand. But yeah, this is all on your opponent's turn, obviously. Allied Code Soccer would get rid of White Binder, then we would utilize Druid Swarm, banishing the White Binder, and then White Binder comes back, we would draw the Fualos. White Binder can go ahead and banish our Heart Scriptor from the graveyard. Sorry I went a little too fast there, but just showing you this deck is so crazy and so powerful still because Heart Scriptor's a banish, negate/banish, Firewall Dragon. Honestly, like even if we didn't do our Druid Swarm stuff, we'd probably go ahead and use our Allied Code Soccer at Ignister. We'd pass turn to our opponent, send this to the graveyard, negate/banish something, and then we have Firewall Dragon, which is a bounce 2 from our opponent's graveyard, field, or our own field or graveyard. So we'd probably go ahead, use Firewall Dragon. I'm gonna go ahead and put the March Hare back in the graveyard, and then we drew the Fualos. But yeah, Firewall Dragon's gonna go ahead. We can go ahead and add our March Hare anyways back to our hand. That's if we didn't have Druid Swarm. So Firewall Dragon would bounce something from our opponent, field or graveyard, and also bounce our March Hare back to our hand. And we'd be able to utilize March Hare by banishing White Binder, and then White Binder obviously would go ahead and banish something from their graveyard and get our Heart Scriptor anyway. Just showing you the other line with Firewall Dragon, being able to give us our recursion by putting our graveyard stuff back to our hand. We'd also be able to even put our Dimension Shifter back to our hand, or Drone Lockbird back to our hand. So it's able to kind of put hand traps back, which is really cool. Something that not a lot of people really utilize too often with Firewall Dragon, but it's always there. We also have GWC set. So again, this deck is infinite power, infinite potential. Honestly, still super fun. I really love these long combo line decks, especially because you can mess up a bunch of times. I don't know if I did mess up, honestly. Trying to go a little fast, trying to beat the sun coming down right now this Sunday night. Trying to get back to watch some football as well. But yeah, sorry if I was going too fast. You know, I did just have my friend text me saying not to open this Metal Raiders pack, by the way. I did not know they were that expensive. I don't know why I thought it was just like a $15 pack or something. He told me if I open this, it can go from around $40, $50 to pretty much zero, because the cards in here are pretty much not worth anything. So yeah, you guys let me know. Do you want to see this open in the next video? Should I just do it anyways? Yeah, I'm gonna touch base with him right now. I did just get the text. He was blowing my phone up. Eradicator Epidemic Virus, super powerful card. Maliss, super powerful, still busted, very budget as well. This deck is super cheap. Aside from backup, and March Hare actually did kind of go up. Everything else is like a penny card, penny stocks. Definitely highly recommend. If you guys want to see more of this deck or more combo lines, let me know, leave a comment. But I'll catch you guys in the next video.